states the Planning Commission recommends granting those.
Do we need to say why for any of those, the way you did in your report, or have you appended your report?
I referenced, if you read in that first sentence, based on the justification of the memorandum dated July 16, 2010.
Oh, okay.
Over there and attached as exhibit, right? And that's why it's attached to the back of this motion.
Thank you.
Question for the solicitor. We should say grants, not recommends granting. We should say that they go by grant. Is that correct? Or should we put that right into the? No, I did not.
Why are we recommending granting? Aren't we granting?
That's what we're
That's what I'm
just.
talking about.
sorry.
We'll change that language, recommends granting to hereby grants. The necessary zoning relief based on the justification of the memorandum. And then it outlines the items. The application number 5, the application is for 3 single-family dwellings, and they will all be affordable, and they will be in the Church Community Housing Land Trust. They're 1.5 stories, the 2 new dwellings are 1.5 stories. Talks about the footprint of those and that they are 3 bedrooms and 1.5 baths, and that the new units are compatible in scale and architectural style with surrounding units in the neighborhood. Number 6, the Planning Commission has been presented with no facts evidencing significant negative environmental impacts. I should also state that starting at number 3 to number 9, these are the findings that are required by the state law in granting a comprehensive permit.
Are you going to say that someplace?
Yes. Okay, Wyatt would like to say the Planning Commission preliminarily approves granting the necessary zoning relief.
Where is that?
That was number 4, first, the change from bench.
Okay, because this is only
Your
preliminary.
final administrative approval.
Final preliminary saying that it is granted.
Then the commission finds that the relief is granted, that would have to be changed as well.
Correct. Does everybody understand that?
Be changed to preliminarily granted?
The Planning Commission preliminarily approves granting the necessary zoning relief based on the justification in the memorandum.
Okay, the next sentence though, the commission finds that the relief is granted. Is preliminarily granted?
Yes. Number 6, that just is one of the findings that you need to make regarding no negative environmental impacts. Number 7, there will not be significant negative impacts on the health and safety of the current or future residents of the community. Number 8, all lots in the subdivision have adequate and permanent physical access to a public street. We've already reviewed that one with the changes per token. Number 9, the development will not result in the creation of individual lots with any physical constraints to development that building on those lots, according to pertinent regulations and building standards, would be impracticable. And then number 10 is a requirement or is a finding that we require in our subdivision regulations that is not required at the state level, but we have to make that finding on a local level because it's in our subdivision regulations, that all lots have adequate and water for the intended use. And we also talk about adequate provision for wastewater disposal. Number 11 talks about the subsidy for the affordable housing. and it includes $125,000 community development block grant funding, $195,000 building homes Rhode Island funding, and $216,700 affordable housing trust fund. I think I would like to make a note on that one that the $16,700 will be reviewed by the town council on August 2nd. And then number 12.
Not to be picky, but I do believe building homes Rhode Island should be BHRI, not BMRI.
You are correct.
And Lisa, does the 16,700 come from the trust go to the ratepayers, the water sewer?
No, it goes from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, which is town funds that's been allocated already, and it will go to the project.
And so the project then would pay the hookup fees?
The town, no, the project would not pay the hookup fees. I'm sorry, yes, you're correct. The project would pay the hookup fees, yes. Yes, through that funding. Okay, correct. Yes. And then the number 12 is the travel way, the acknowledgement that it's encroaching on the southeast boundary of the subdivision property and that it does not interfere with the proposed development. And then we move on to conditions of approval. It's for a total of 3 lots. The payment in lieu of land dedication shall not be required for this subdivision. Number 2, that they need to place monuments at the new property lines. That the project shall be built in accordance with the final approved plans. Number 5, the developer, property owner, and monitoring agent for this affordable housing development will be Church Community Housing Corporation. CCHC has stated that if the existing house is not able to be rehabilitated, a new dwelling will be built in its place and the lots will be adjusted to be equal size. In this instance, no further planning commission review will be necessary as long as the new dwelling has similar appearance and size characteristics as the other 2 dwellings. And an administrative subdivision will be required to change lot lines. They didn't list that as one of the changes, so I crossed it out. Do you still want to say as reviewed and approved by, what did you say? As reviewed and approved by the town planner and town engineer?
What's that, for the administrative subdivision?
No, the new dwelling.
New dwelling.
Yes.
Number 7, the subdivision designer has coordinated with the town engineer regarding stormwater controls, and that swales will be put at each property line. Number 8, that there may be unknown sewer and or water laterals located within the construction area. This is really the same statement that is on the plans themselves, and that if any existing sewer and or water services are disturbed during excavation, the developer must immediately repair such service to its previous function. And then we added a new condition that the final approval will be handled administratively with the signature of the chairman to appear on the final record plan. And then we also added a condition of approval that parking for parcel C shall be via a parking entry 12 by 40 feet in dimension on the northeast corner of parcel C. And then we have that this approval shall be recorded by the applicant with the office of the town clerk, and that the planning office shall post the approval, which is required by state law, and that this approval will expire 1 year from the date of approval by the planning commission, unless final approval is granted within that time.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Mr. Clerk.
could I make one suggestion? I would request that the commission consider dropping that very last condition, because you've already made a finding of fact that we have access to Swinburne Street, which is a fact. You can determine that just by looking at the plan. If you state affirmatively where the parking has to be, you're in effect eliminating perhaps our ability to make an agreement at any time in the future related to the 10-foot wide right of way.
But I think the isn't the deficiency that part